Shalom. Want to give all praise to my Heavenly Father. His name is Yahweh, by Yeshim Yahweh Shai, by Yeshim Gagadash. Give honors to the apostles and elders of New York and Connecticut. Peace, many salutations to Yakim that's toiling in his truth. I came across this video of the infamous Alton Daniels commentating on a video in which Eve was saying that Esau should pay for what their forefathers have done, um, you know, via reparations, which here, at GMS, we're not advocating for reparation, but we are advocating for is, payback, which comes from the Lord. Our payback is going to come when Yahweh Shai returns and places these various nations into captivity, right, under our subjection to a rule, right? But Alton was making an argument that we should just get over it. Slavery, was a long time ago, and it wasn't so-called white people who slowed us into slavery. Was some of our own people, which a lot of people use this argument, because they don't understand that our concept of, the whole concept was race was made up, by Esau Edom to categorize us, under, our phenotype versus our nationality, right? See, when we were in Africa, we were sold by Hamitic people, right? And yes, you did have some people who were Shemitic, but the vast majority of people who were rounding us up and selling us were not of our nation. Just think of us bigger than so-called black and white. It's about nationality. But even if you want to use that argument, what about after slavery, right? During the Reconstruction era and the Jim Crow era, what was happening to Jake? Okay, they tell us to get our stuff together and things of that nature. But you had the Judites, the head tribe, so-called Negroes, that were getting it together, that were building cities, sustainable cities, building their own economies. And you had Esau Edom come and destroy these cities, right? So this man has had a perpetual hatred against us. And because of this, Esau Edom will be annihilated out the face of the earth, right? He will serve 1,000 years and he will be taken out of the way, right? And then those 1,000 years, he will serve the nation of Israel. That's how we're going to be paid back, okay? But let's play this right here. I don't want to jump ahead of myself. Then we'll get you some, I have some stats for you guys. And then we'll get to the precepts and that'll be it.
Okay, y'all. So I want to address something. So white people think that they don't need to be sorry for anything that their ancestors did. They don't need to right wrongs that their ancestors did. They think that, at least when it comes to black people, they think that it has nothing to do with them and that they're free from any kind of judgment because of it. But the fact is that you as white people are obligated to right wrongs that your ancestors did. You're obligated to do that. And you have done it for every other ethnicity, if you will, besides black people. So, yeah, you should feel bad because you have not corrected wrongs that your ancestors did. the responsibility falls on your shoulders. And you shouldn't be sleeping good at night. And you should.
What she's saying is very spiritual. You know, what she's saying is very spiritual. They do have an obligation. This is why we're living in. We understand we're living in the last times. You know, saying the last days, to where judgment is going to ensue on this place, and these various people, that have once had us into captivity. I'm saying, they will be um, brought in straits, right? That word straits means hard times, and brought into slavery. Okay, right? This is what, see, when you read the scriptures, people understand that's a part of salvation, being um being delivered from your enemies, right? And also seeing a downfall of your enemies, man. Okay, right? That's a part of salvation. This is what the nation of Israel was looking for. They were looking for, basically, the nation of Israel to be established all over again, man, and our enemies to be brought down under our feet. Okay, that's salvation, right? But our people, they believe in the whole notion of multiculturalism, which really we've been fed that, what I'm saying, as a way for them to usher in wayward lifestyles like the alphabet community off the backs of you so-called Negroes. So now you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, chiefly the head tribe, right? The Judites, you know, your culture has been mixed and blend, and been marketed as, you know, the the saviors of, waywardness, man. You know what I'm saying? Of decadence. Okay, and I did that off the backs of the civil rights movement. Okay, to usher in these wayward ways. So no, we're still not free. We're still in straits. We're still number one at everything wrong except for skin cancer, right? And you could blame that ultimately on us breaking the law, such commandments. But Esau, Edom, man, you has a perpetual hatred for us. Okay, he's gonna have to pay for this. Oldie but goodie, Isaiah 14:2, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the faces of the world with cities. So here it is, you know. Isaiah is letting you know that Babylon, right, which is this is the Neo Babylon, Babylon the Great, aka America, the people that rule this place, right, their children are going to endure slaughter for the iniquity of their fathers. Okay, contrary to popular belief, you have to pay your forefathers. Well, you have to pay for the sins of your forefathers, which proves what? Reincarnation. Okay, nobody gets away scot free. We pay for things, in our next lives, if we will. Okay, and now is the time in which Esau Edom is going to get paid back, for all the wickedness that he has done on the nation of Israel. Okay, because he has had a perpetual hatred towards us. Okay, let's get this in Ezekiel. All right, now this is Ezekiel 35. And I'll start at 1. Ezekiel 35:1. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it. And Mount Seir is an area in uh, Edom, the land of Edom, right, which the Edomites will dwell. Okay. Um, Set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. When you set your face against something, you're being basically contrary to it. Like you see, basically two fighters having a face off, right? What is that showing? That's a showing of confrontation. Okay, and say unto it, thus saith Yahweh power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Right? So Esau Edom has had a perpetual hatred towards us. Esau Edom has always had so-called black fatigue, and he's always used various uh, um, mantras, right, and different schools of thought to rationalize his hatred, whether it be religion, or whether it be pseudoscience. Okay, you know, and now we're not apologists for our people and their actions. We understand 2/3 of our people are wicked, but so-called Negroes, Latinos, or Native Americans are a reflection of society in which they were born into. Man, Esau Edom, what I'm saying, is hyper violent, right? It's unjust when it comes to weights or money, finances. Everybody's on a debt, right? You know, everybody's at each other's throat. You know, there's no sense of community. Why is that? Because Esau Edom perpetuates um, individualism and autonomy over, what's good for your society. So everybody's kind of doing their own thing and living a life of nihilism. The word nihilism means a life with no meaning. You can blame that on the teachings of Esau Edom, right? And he has shoved these ways down Jake's throat via hip hop, via gang culture. You know what I'm saying? To ensure that we destroy ourselves, man. Now, granted, yes, 2/3 of our people are wicked, and we should hold each other accountable, which that's what we do here. And ultimately, they got to be 2/3 of our people have to be taken out of the way, just like Esau Edom. You see, 2/3 of our people, they're going to get a second chance. All Israel shall be saved, alluding to Revelation. Excuse me, Romans. You know, the 11th chapter. All Israel shall be saved, but Esau Edom, man, you gotta go, bro, for your hatred that you have shown, you know, towards us. Back in Ezekiel 35:5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So guess what? You know, Esau Edom has, you know, sowed all this violence on earth, and he's going to be taken out in a violent way. And chiefly because he touched the apple of the Most High's eye. The Israelites, man, he has to pay for this. See, she's talking about reparations. We're talking about a whole different matter. We're talking about rulership, man. Jake just wants to be able to coexist. No, we don't want coexist. We want rulership. And the Most High is going to grant that to us via Yahweh Shah. Okay? All right? Let's play some more.
Feel guilty because you have the ability to right wrongs. And so now I see these videos about white people wanting black people to stop talking about it and don't make me feel bad about myself. And I'm not a bad person. And yes, you are. You absolutely are. You are, because you have chosen not to right wrongs that you know that your ancestors did.
That is so. When we gonna let this go? When are we going to let it go? When are we going to absolutely just get over it and find ourselves in a better space and spend our energy and our time towards being the best versions of ourselves ever? Should we hold previous people that sold us in a transatlantic slave trade over here to the United States of America, which, obviously white people capitalized off of? Should we hold our ancestors accountable for the things that happened in the past? I'm just trying to figure out, what do people want, to eventually let it go and grow up and grow out and being great, and letting go of this trauma that you just continue to hold on to, that you've never experienced in your entire life. We teach this to our children, and their parents taught it to their children, and then our children are going to teach it to their children, and it's just going to be forever.
Okay, y'all, so I want to address something.
Right, so Alton's like, man, we got to just get over it, guys. Right? But, you could try to mix and mingle all you want to. Esau Edom's going to still be judged for his wickedness. Right? The wickedness that he's done. Okay? Let's get this in Proverbs. Proverbs 11:21. Though hands on the hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. So you could join hands with this guy, economically speaking, and we can have one or two that does well in this economy, in this life, right? That still doesn't negate that judgment has to ensue on this place for the wickedness that he's done. And it still is doing, man. This thing is bigger than just being mad at slavery. All right. This whole world is controlled by decadence and sin, man. And that's perpetuated by a group of people, which are Edomites. Okay. And then you want to say, hey, you so-called Negroes, you got to just get over it. Well, it's not like we hadn't tried that before. Okay. Right. And right after the Civil War, what was going on? Well, during the Reconstruction era, Jake was getting lynched at an exponential rate. Not only lynched, killed, right? Cities being toppled by white militias. Okay. Jake basically endured a neo-caste system. All right. All right. Then after the Reconstruction and Jim Crow era, right, which this that money that was created during that era, which the era was around the time when the industrial age was just now, or revolution, I say, was just winding down. Billions of dollars was created in that area. Billions of dollars was missed out in the so-called black community. Okay, which left us in, a dilapidated state. All right, we can't negate this. It's something in history that Esau Edom doesn't like to talk about. And this was only a generation or two ago. Okay, a generation was 30 years or so. So 2 generations ago, Jake just now was being declared as citizens and not second-class citizens. You know, it was illegal. It was found illegal to kill a nigga. And Esau Edom was doing that all day long, man. Okay, under the guise of Christian purity, pseudoscience. Okay, let's get to some stats I want to show you guys. All right, so I asked ChatGPT how many black cities, so called, we know that's a color, we're not black, we're Israelites, but how many so called, I should have said so called, but how many black cities were destroyed during Reconstruction period, and how much many, how many were lost? I should say. It says there's no official agreed upon number of black towns or black business districts destroyed during Reconstruction in the decades immediately after. However, historians do document a series of violent attacks, often called massacres, race riots, or pogroms, that wiped out thriving black cities, black communities, excuse me, governments or business districts. Below is the clearest historical summary based on what scholars do know. How many black towns, communities were destroyed? Historians don't have a single numeric total because events were not systematically recorded by the federal government. Many local archives many local archives are destroyed or are never kept. Some communities were wiped out before they were officially incorporated. But we can list the major confirmed incidents where entire black communities or districts were destroyed then or immediately after Reconstruction, 1865, 1877, and into the Jim Crow era up to 1923. Major black towns or districts destroyed Reconstruction to 1923. During Reconstruction, check this out, from 1865 to 1877, right? So what? That's in a 12-year span, roughly. Memphis Massacre, 1866. New Orleans Massacre, 1866. Camilla Massacre, Georgia, 1868. A Pale Loose Massacre, Louisiana, 1868. Colfax Massacre, Louisiana. Entire black community wiped out. Shaka Massacre, Louisiana, 1874. Vicksburg Massacre, Mississippi, 1874. Hamburg Massacre, South Carolina, 1876. Black militia town destroyed. Post Reconstruction, but connected to the same anti-black political violence, 1877 to 1923. Wilmington, North Carolina, 1898. Only successful coup in U.S. History. Black cities, government, plus business destroyed. Okosie, Florida, entire black town burnt, population expelled. Rosewood, Florida, 1923, prosperous black town burnt to the ground. Elaine Massacre, Arkansas, black sharecropper community destroyed. This is a lot of money being destroyed, brothers. All right, East St. Louis, 1917, Tulsa, uh, Tulsa, Greenwood, Black Wall Street, 1921. Largest destruction of black wealth in U.S. history. This yielded at least 12 to 15 major documented cases, but historians argue the total number is higher because many smaller black towns were destroyed or depopulated by white militias without national reporting. So the most accurate historian approved answer is at least a dozen major black communities were destroyed, and probably dozens more smaller ones that were never officially recorded. How Check this out? How much black wealth, so-called black wealth? I detest that fucking term, black or Israelites. But how much so-called black wealth was lost? Again, there is no full official figure, but historians have been able to estimate losses for the biggest events. Known wealth destruction estimates, events, estimated wealth destroyed. Tulsa, equivalent to 1.5 to 3 billion in today's dollars. Rosewood, equivalent to 10 to 20 million today. Wilmington, unknown but believed to be in the hundreds of millions lost businesses, homes, political power. Elaine, 1919, unknown record destroyed. O Okosi, 1920, tens of millions of dollars today. Colfax, towns destroyed, no reliable dollar estimate. East St. Louis, 1917, equivalent to 100 to 200 million today. Most historians estimates of total wealth loss. Most scholars estimate that at least 5 to 10 billion in so-called black wealth was destroyed in today's dollars. So estimates go higher, saying the total loss could exceed 20 billion when including burned homes, destroyed business districts, killed political leaders, stolen land, forced displacement, generational wealth never formed. Summary: how many black towns, communities were destroyed? At least a dozen major ones are documented. The real number uh, was likely several dozen. How much wealth was destroyed? At least 5 to 10 billion in today's dollar, possibly much more. You see that? So you say, Jake, they tell us to, you know what, get over it. Take care of your kids. You need to, you need to get it together, man. Well, shit, man. From what did it say, 1877 to 1923. You know, uh, Jake's so-called black districts economy. You know, uh, you know, land was destroyed or taken from Esau Edom. You know, you know, by stopping the growth of wealth, right? They could have put Jake in a substantial better place than we are now. We cannot negate that. Generational wealth was destroyed. So don't tell Jake to try to get it together when Jake was getting it together. Now we live in a broken society to where if wealth is not being made here by anybody, honestly. And the reason why is because the social fabric of the family has been destroyed. Okay, when you destroy a man's family, you create nihilism. You create a life with no meaning. Now you got grown ass people marrying pictures of themselves, living in fucking la la land. Minimalists. Well, you can blame that on Esau Edom. Be here tell you, oh, just get over it. And Jake is complicit because Jake has a mindset of a slave, basically. Jake wants to, put himself, whoever listens to him, in a better situation for him to be a slave. He doesn't have a mindset of overcoming and a mindset of rulership. Jake can't fathom, them being in at the top. And that has a lot to do with Esau Edom and how he anytime we try to put ourselves in a better situation, Esau Edom was there to do what? To put us into further subjection. So Esau Edom has to be taken out of the way, bro. And you so-called Negroes, that's complicit, that wants to go along and get along, you gotta go too. You'll come back. You'll be first person who find the kingdom of heaven. But you have taken on the ways of Esau Edom, so you gotta go too. Is Israel home or slave? Right? Now this is Jeremiah 2 and 14 in the KJV. Is Israel a slave? Excuse me, is Israel a servant? You know? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? So we become, slaves under this man's rulership, We want to be accommodated and accepted. And time and time, Esau Edom has showed you that he hates you. And what he's done to you, right? He thinks that he's justified by his religion, by his pseudoscience, right? He has the mentality of, you know what? This is the best thing. One of the best things could have happened to you niggas, is getting put in subjection to us. Otherwise, you'd be in Africa swinging off of trees. And it's sad because our people accept this mentality, man. It's sad, It's very sad, But ultimately, you could blame this on Esau Edom, right? You can blame this on Esau Edom. Let's go to Psalms 7. Let's go to Psalm 7. And I said keep on saying 7. I meant 73, excuse me. Psalm 73 and 6. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covered them as a garment. Their eyes stand out like fatness, they have more than their heart could wish. They are corrupt and speak lawfully concerning oppression. They speak let me start over. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully, right? So Esau, he speaks very hard, pridefully, right? When it comes to oppression, he says, you guys just need to get over it, right? Well, Esau, man, you never allowed us to get over it, man. Whenever you allowed us to get over it, okay, right. So Esau, man, hey, you got to be taken out of the way too. You're gonna be taken out of the way, man. For the wickedness that you have done to the nation of Israel. All right. All right. It's in this in Obadiah. Right. Obadiah 1:1. Division of Obadiah. That said, how power concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh. An ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise and let us rise up against her in battle. And this is what we see going on, right? The Most High is putting his spirit on these other nations to come against this place, right? Because we weren't the only nation who got fucked over, but we're the special ones, right? These other nations are fed up with this place too. And so Esau Edom's going to go into war and he's going to lose, right? Behold, I have made thee smart among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart has deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Right? So Esau Edom has rules with a very prideful mindset. He believes that his military cannot be toppled, or the Most High is going to put the spirit on these other nations to come against this place and topple this place. Thus, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thine heart amongst the stars, hence I will bring thee down, said Yahweh. If the thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the uh, grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are the hidden things sought up? Meaning what? What does that mean? Right? It means they're going to be made bare. This is what's going on with Esau Edom. His wickedness is being made bare. Right? And in time of calamity, guess what? He's going to be totally stripped of everything that he has. Okay? All the men of thy confederacy has brought thee even to the border, and the man that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in them. Meaning what? Meaning what? Esau, Edom, his allies were going to eventually turn against him. So again, join hand in hand, and wicked shall not go unpunished. You Israelites out there. Shall I not in that day, said Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Teman, out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thy mighty man, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. There that slaughter go again. For what? Verse 10, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Because so the violence that Esau Edom has inflicted on us, he's going to be cut off. He's going to have to pay, man. Okay, Most High is just and fair, right? Esau Edom gets to kick all his ass and just ride off in the sunset, and then kiss everybody on the forehead and say, "My bad." Give him a pat on the back. They get some weave, Quantisha. Yeah, I know you guys like that. You know, dap everybody up and then say, and everything is cool. Nah, bro, you got to pay for the violence that he has done to us, man. And this is a righteous thing, you know. So reciprocity, you know what I'm saying? Our recompense is coming back, despite what, uh, Esau says, and even 2/3 of our people have to say, man. Okay. Pray was edifying. Shalom.